I don't think property market is going to crash.
Interest rate cut plays a very critical part in their making a decision.
The current interest rates, are they able to borrow enough to buy a property that they need to buy?
I do think that it all depends on your personal circumstances. I know many owners who can't wait to get into their own property. They do not like renting. So I've always guided all my buyers over the last 2 decades where we have seen the ups and downs in the market. Property is a long-term decision. You buy when you're ready, when your finances are in place and you're able to afford the repayments and also have a buffer in case the interest rates do go up in the next 5 years.
Well, the answer is very simple. It depends. And what it depends upon is, in the current interest rates, are they able to borrow enough to buy a property that they need to buy? And if the answer is yes, and the next question they're going to ask is, are they getting a good deal and are they confident about the decision making, then they should make these decisions. It is not very prudent to keep, sort of gambling on the interest rates because they're not a short-term phenomenon. You're not really going into the market for 6 months or a year where the fluctuation in the interest rates is going to really impact you. But yes, you want to be cautious about it. You want to do your numbers and see if you will sustain this asset, if the interest rate go up by another % or so, and also if the interest rate drops, well, that's happy days. But the banks are anyway taking that into account when they're doing your assessment. So yes, interest rate forms one important element in the whole equation, but that's not the whole of equation. You need to take into account your goals, your objectives, and the asset you're looking to buy. And based on that, you need to make a calculated call.
I think purchasing a property has to be right for the individual, depending on their objective, their plan. If their circumstances does not allow them to commence their journey in purchasing a property, certainly interest rate cut plays very critical part in their making a decision to commence with their journey of purchasing a property. However, if your financial circumstances actually reflects the fact that you can afford to get started without impacting your lifestyle, it's probably best to start now. There's no guarantee where the interest rates will go. In the meantime, property prices are continuing to go up. When will we know when interest rates will go down? I feel that now is the deciding factor in purchasing a property and your capacity to afford it. Don't wait till interest rates go down until you start your journey.
Well, if I was paid $10 for every time I answered this question, I would have been sitting at somewhere around $100 million, I think. It's a question that gets asked and thrown around way too much. We're sitting on an economy which is very robust. In fact, we all know in the last 3 major crises, Australia was one of the best performing developed countries across the world, even during the GFC. So I don't know why we are talking about crash. Yes, there are certain undercurrents, there are certain kind of forces which are always going to be there. Talking about inflation, talking about the unemployment, which we are cautiously watching, but that doesn't give us the, that doesn't put us in a very much a predicament where we're talking about crash. It's a stable market built on genuine demand. Aren't we talking about there's a housing shortage? So I'm not sure if the crash is at all in the foresight. Yes, there are certain spookers who might just say that to sell more magazine and sell more eyeballs, but for anyone who keeps a tab on the market, there are genuine buyers in the market. There are genuine people who have a desire to buy a house. So I don't see a crash happening in this country.
In the last 45 years, property, I hear, and it's been written, has only doubled every 10 years. It has never crashed. Property is an investment that is the most secure, and banks see it that way too. We relate crash, the word crash, to businesses that may actually go down, which are impacted by different economical circumstances. But property had been secure, property had stood on its own, and it has been the safest investment an investor can jump into. So to answer your question, I don't believe that property will crash in the next few years to come.
In my opinion, there is still a large shortage of established homes, and there's a lot of other factors that are positive. There's high migration, employment rates are good at this stage. So there has been an adjustment, which we've already experienced, but I think we have reached a stable scenario within the property market, and I'm not a doom and gloom believer, so I don't think property market is going to crash. So it depends whether you're an investor or you're buying for your own family. Obviously, then you have two different criteria. For an investor, it will be rental return, capital growth, whether there's strata, no strata, whether there's potential to add a second dwelling. So there's multiple factors to consider if you're an investor. Obviously, if you're a family, then your choice of schools, suburbs, where your friends are, where your network is it well connected to the metro? Generally, the suburbs that are well connected and have infrastructure are the safer bet.
Look, when you're buying your first property, it's just like buying your first car or getting married for the first time. I know some of out there will be getting married for more than one. You need to plan. You need to know where you want to be. You need to have a good sight of what you want to buy. Is this a house you want to buy, or is this part of a wider portfolio strategy where you're looking to build multiple properties over a period of time? And I'm not talking about buying 5 properties in 1 year. That happens at Facebook. But I'm talking about a good strategy with a good savings plan and a good sort of tactical implementation of that plan. So, a few things to keep in mind. First thing first, what's your current financial stability? How much you can borrow and what you are comfortable with to service in terms of the loan. Then you got to see your requirements. You're a family of 2 or a family of 4. Then whether you need a house or an apartment, you make a choice on the product. And the third bit is, where are you going to buy this product? You carry out decent amount of research, you carry out decent amount of analytics, you look at the data, and then you make a cautious approach towards buying a property.
Number one, we need to be able to assist you in pulling apart and trying to discover what your objectives are when it comes to property. Then we can create a strategy around it. You have clients who are wanting to purchase a property to live in. That is a different framework to a client who would like to purchase a property for investment. It's 2 types of conversation, it's 2 different types of circumstances, and the strategies are different. So when we speak to our clients about the things that they need, the boxes that they have to have ticked to purchase a property, let's sit down and do a strategy, and there's always a way if you share the objectives with us.